Hey guys, I'm Angela and welcome back to Hobby Night. This week in Hobby News, there's really only one thing that we need to talk about, and that is the balanced data slate that GW dropped, which has some new rules in it. So let's go ahead and meet up with the Chaos Cultist and discuss these rules. I'm here with Alchemical Jack, aka the Chaos Cultist. How are you today?
I am doing quite well. How about yourself?
I am doing very well. We're here to talk about some of the new rules that we found on the Balanced Data Slate, which is a new quarterly thing that GW is planning to do, basically to give rules updates to try to help balance match play. And there's some interesting changes on here, isn't there?
Yes, there is. The first and sort of the primary one that sort of affects everyone, although
Yes.
I think it primarily affects Orcs, is the universal match play rule that they are going to now be limiting you to one aircraft model and basically per 1,000 points. So for those of you who play match play, probably 2 aircraft. I believe this was a response to either, I said Orcs before, it might have also been the Mechanicus.
I was gonna say Mechanicus and possibly Drukhari. I don't know, do Drukhari have a lot of flyers?
They have them, but I don't think that was as much of a concern.
Okay, I thought I always heard it was like there was spam of flyers a lot of the times, and this was try to help reduce that so that it wasn't just like overwhelming numbers of them, which are really like difficult to, I think, get rid of off the board if you don't also run flyers.
Well, it's not even so much of that, it's just that if you're running a melee army, they're impossible to take out.
That makes sense. Because you can't shoot them. Yeah,
well,
you can't charge them. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. And we'll sort of see that actually with the next topic, which I'll just go ahead and roll us straight into.
Absolutely, please do.
Which are the points updates to the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Drukhari.
Yes.
Now, interestingly, Games Workshop has gone ahead and said that these points updates are actually part of the yearly points update book that's coming out next calendar year in 2022.
Yes, I do remember seeing that.
Yes, but for, in essence, because they believe that the current competitive scene is a little unbalanced, they decided to release these points changes, quote-unquote, early. Yes, and now I'm sort of scrolling through the Adeptus Mechanicus here for a moment, and so I do not know these two armies very well. No, but what I do know is that we did see a points increase for the Mechanicus flyers. And I'm probably going to mispronounce these, the Archaeopter Fusilave, as well as the
Stratoraptor?
Yes, they both went up 20 points from where they were before.
Got it.
And so between that and the new
reduction, yeah,
and the limit in the number of them that you can take, it makes me think, okay, so it must have been Mechanicus, and I definitely heard there was some like Orc Blitz.
Yeah, I thought there were like, yeah, exactly. I thought I heard that too. Because actually, speaking of the Orcs with their reductions, they didn't have a huge amount of. Let me start that again. They didn't have a whole lot going on with this update, but they did get reduced on what they could muster with some of their wagons and like boom blastas and stuff, which doesn't specifically affect what I'm planning on running for my Orcs. But I'm also wondering if this is partially why, because I see the scrap jets and like the squid buggies and like those kinds of things are in there too. So it seems like all their big mobile units seem to get reduced down of what you can actually bring.
Yeah, what I think it is, and we'll come back to the Drukhari points changes.
Yes,
in just
sorry,
a moment.
didn't need to jump ahead to the Orcs, but we mentioned the big flyers, so.
Yes. Now the updates to the Orcs, that's a limitation not on their flyers.
No, it's on specific units.
Yes, but it
includes some flyers, which is why it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I think so, because it has the Megatrak scrap jets.
Is the scrap jet actually a flyer?
Oh, I thought it was. Am I misremembering that?
I am 60% sure.
Oh, if that's the case, then I completely segued us past the Drukhari for no reason.
It's a car.
Oh, my bad.
It's made out of an engine, but it's a car.
Oh, I thought because it was a jet that it was one of their. I'm just silly and haven't looked at my Orc Codex clearly enough.
No, it's fine. But yeah, we'll continue talking about the Orcs. So what really got hit for the Orcs were the
trucks and stuff.
Not even the trucks.
Oh, okay.
No. What actually got hit for the Orcs was the Speedfreak units. The Boom Daka Snaz Wagon, the Custom Boosta Blaster, the Megatruck Scrapjet, the Rucka Truck Squig Buggies, and the Shock Jump Dragsta.
Oh.
Basically, if you remember the Orktober of 2019.
Yes. So all the cars numbers.
Yes.
All the racers. Oh, okay. See, I think I mistook some of those as being flyers and a couple other things. So I thought it was a little bit of a bigger mix that got hit by them. I didn't realize it was more specifically the speed freaks. That's unfortunate for them.
Yeah, no, so it's, well, the thing is...
Was there spamming of it, though?
Well, there was for competitive, and the thing is you can take each one of a unit of 3.
Right.
So you can still run quite a bit, and you could still
You can still run them thematically,
you
just can't.
could still run 3 Snaz Wagons, and 3 Boosta Blastas, and 3 Scrap Jets. You just couldn't run 9 Scrap Jets.
Got it.
Now.
Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, and I feel a little bit better about the reduction, because I had completely misunderstood what had happened, and I thought, like, a little bit more had been restricted, but that makes more sense and, like, feels a little bit more like just trying to keep it thematic, because you probably wouldn't see... I don't know, would the Orcs have that huge numbers, though?
It's a competitive move.
Okay, it's just a competitive move? Okay, fair enough.
Remember, these are matched play.
You're right, they are. I was like, it feels more thematic that way. I don't know, I feel like it's fine.
No, excuse me, none of these rules affect Crusade or open play or anything like that. This is purely for matched competitive.
Right, exactly.
But just to come back to the Drukhari for just a moment, they saw some interesting point cost increases. We got there eventually, folks.
Hell yeah.
Across their incubi, succubi, and witches, each of them going up 2 points per model. So sort of a curtailing of infantry spam, which is unfortunate because I feel like any of the elves need as many bodies as they can, but at the same time, I don't know competitive Drukhari.
Neither do I. I don't know, like maybe they're just really OP and that's why they had to up their costs and stuff.
Potentially. And then the biggest nerf to them seems to be the Dark Lance on Raiders went up by 10 points. Which from the very short period of time I played Drukhari back like 12 years ago. Raiders were cheap, and so it was just a really cheap and easy way of getting those anti-tank guns out there.
Got it.
And with how elite heavy 9th edition
really is
seems to want to be, I completely can see how Dark Lances would be nasty.
Yeah, I can too, actually, just like, because I remember a little bit from when you were running the the Drukhari. I think they were still called Dark Eldar back then. Miss those days.
Don't we all?
Next up, we have the Astra Militarum, which have some exciting changes, specifically with tank orders. But like first, we need to talk about the fact that the Leman Russ models have a 2-up. They just have a 2-up. They're more durable. I like that.
It would have been nice to see it go to the Baneblade, but
it would have been nice to see it go to the Baneblade. I agree with that. But at least the Leman Russ is a little bit better now, which I feel like is appropriate because of just, you know, how much history and like reverence they put into it.
It's a little bit of a buff. It's a little bit of a buff,
which is good. But an even better buff is tank orders and how those work now. So basically, you can select one friendly regiment vehicle unit, excluding a Titanic unit, of course, and within 6 inches of that regiment tank commander model, instead of selecting a Leman Russ, you can now select just a regiment vehicle. You don't have to choose a Leman Russ. They can go to other vehicles. It's great. I love this.
Do you?
I do.
Oh, what other vehicles would you like to apply it to?
I would like to apply it to my Whirlwind. Can I apply? Wait, do they take Whirlwinds?
Not since Rogue Trader, I'm afraid.
I thought maybe they also took Whirlwinds. I want it to go on. I don't actually know the Leman or.
I know I'm just being a jerk on this one because I'm like, you're just reading that rule out loud.
I am reading that rule out loud. No, but legitimately though, like this is cool because I knew that was a weird restriction, but I didn't realize exactly how restrictive it was. Like
yeah, they could only give it to other Leman Russes. Now this is not. This has some benefits. It's not like game shattering by any stretch of the imagination. The main thing you could see it, I could see it being used at the beginning of the game to get some chimeras up the field faster.
I think that's what I was trying to think of when I said Whirlwind, but I forgot the other name.
Yeah, and then you could possibly use it with not chimera. I was gonna say a hellhound or a. Was it a Chemblade or something? No, that's the big version of it.
I don't remember.
Yeah, but the problem is the Baneblades and a tank commander is normally going to be near the back of the field, so it's not going to be up at the front where your Hellhounds are going to be.
That's fair.
But you could also apply it to a Manticore, and I don't even know what that could possibly do because I haven't looked at the Manticore's rules in 2 years.
That is interesting. I also wonder though, because like competitive boards tend to be pretty dense, right? Like you don't actually have a lot of like big open spaces or whatever. So I'm wondering if in competitive, if the Leman Russes and the commanders end up being a little bit more forward than they normally would because of the way that the tables get built. So maybe they are closer and this will benefit a few more things.
Potentially, but I know at least for myself when I'm playing, I don't want to move my Leman Russes too much because I also play Cadia.
Oh, well,
so I'm
fair.
also biased.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair.
That might also be my perspective on it swaying me there.
That is true. Now, tanks weren't the only thing to have some buffs, though. We also have the Voice of Command ability has completely changed. Do you want to go over that one?
Yes. So in essence, we have seen a buff. Basically, now when a commander yells, more than one person can hear him, which is quite nice.
Oh my god, it's almost like that. That's how it works in real life.
Yes. I believe the only thing this does not apply to is the move order. But in essence, now when giving an order to an infantry unit, any other infantry unit within 6 inches of that unit also receive the order.
Which is very cool, but I do have some questions about that because I feel like that expands the range of the commander's ability to be able to even give orders really far, depending on where exactly the unit that is getting additionally buffed is in reference to that unit that is receiving the original buff. Because if it's ahead of them, further away from the tank commander, or not the tank commander, but the commander that's getting the issue, does it still get the ability, or does it need to be within range of the commander still?
I mean, rules as written.
Rules as written currently, I don't think it needs to be within range of the commander still, which is crazy because I feel like you can daisy chain some guys out and have like a really massive spread of your commands,
right?
You
can just take 5 infantry and easily cover 10 inches and then get a 10-inch long, 12-inch wide bubble of this order. And here's the thing, though. It's the Militarum.
Maybe that's
Guardsmen are not great right now. It might actually be the intention, because suddenly it's like, okay, well, I'm going to run a bunch of infantry squads.
It would also explain...
I can give 1 first rank fire, second rank fire order.
Yeah.
And suddenly 50 guardsmen are firing 4 times each.
Exactly.
Maybe.
It also would explain why the move was maybe not included.
Because that would just be a sea of men.
Because that would just be like, then everybody would just be, I don't know, too close. I don't know, do you want to get your guardsmen that close, though? I didn't think they were very good in melee.
No, but if you send that a few hundred of them, maybe.
I mean, maybe. I guess so. You just send an entire
drown them in bodies.
Just overwhelm them. Treat them like poxwalkers and just send them forward to their death.
Ah, yes, the Russian approach.
Exactly.
All right, that takes us to Chaos Marines. These are your boys. Let's talk.
They are. So, they have had the rule Death to the False Emperor changed, and basically now, on a 6+, you score an additional hit. So they explode.
Exploding
6s explode,
sixes.
which is fantastic. I actually really like this. I feel, and it also, one thing I didn't say, it applies to everything. It's not just against Space Marines anymore. It's just on everything. So 6s just explode on everything. I love that. It's great. I still want to see the 2 wounds and all of that, but I understand that it probably takes more than just doing a small update like this to rebalance that. I'm hoping that means we actually see the Chaos Codex soon, or this Chaos Space Marine Codex soon. Please, early 2023, please. But this has brought up some really interesting things. If you look at, say, like Abaddon, because he has a warlord trait, and you and I were talking about this earlier. And like the warlord trait, with the way that it was currently written, has a word that shows include, or what was it specifically now? I've completely blanked on it.
Let's see if I can find it very quickly.
Okay, because it was interesting to me
because the exact phrasing of this is important.
Yes, exactly. That's why it was key, because the phrasing of it was very important, because there was an argument we were making of where when we get the rule up and we can actually say it out loud, that it felt like it could potentially be rules lawyer to either stack or not exist.
So I can't find it off immediately.
Okay,
so I'll just speak to it for a brief moment.
Yes, please.
He has his warlord trait is, in essence, originally, any Black Legion unit within 6 inches of him received the benefits of Death to the False Emperor on 5s as well as 6+.
Yes.
Now, in the exact phrasing of this rule, and I will hopefully throw it up on screen,
Yes.
what it actually says is that the Death to the False Emperor ability that awards an additional attack triggers on a 5+ instead of
yes, that was
a 6+. Death of the False Emperor happens on a 5+ instead of a 6+ awarding an additional attack.
Mm-hmm.
It calls out the additional attack.
Right.
And so the phrasing is such that I could see it pedantically rules lawyered.
Right.
That now, each time a Black Legion unit within 6 inches of Abaddon rolls a 5, they get an additional attack.
On top of an exploding 6.
No.
Right,
sorry. On a 5,
yes,
they get a additional attack. And then on a 6,
yes,
they get an exploding hit and an additional attack because his Warlord trait says they get an additional attack. Right. But it has the word the phrase instead of,
which makes me think that
I hope
really...
it just replaces it, and and once again, this is just a pedantic rules lawyery thing that I think needs an FAQ.
I agree, but I think it seems like most people, from what I've been reading online, are taking it the more like appropriate way, which is what I think it's meant
intended.
To be. Yeah. Rules as intended, which is now saying that with Abaddon, it would then be on 5s you would explode, which is also really cool.
It's better.
It's better. Yeah, it just makes it better, and like I think there's some interesting stuff hopefully in line for the Chaos Space Marines. I'm really hoping we see a new codex soon. This is encouraging, but I want to see more. Hello, Imperial Citizen. This is your regular reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the Emperor's bell for notifications. And if you're feeling particularly devout, you can join my Patreon, where you'll get exclusive unboxings, behind-the-scenes content, and more. Now, let's go ahead and get back to the video. Now, let's move on to some big boys, specifically Imperial Nights and Chaos Knights, because they now have objectives secured, which means that they can actually secure objectives and hold points and everything, and they won't get immediately kicked off of those points by a bunch of infantry because the normal vehicles count as 5 models per unit and the Titanic models count as 10. So they actually are viable, I feel like, in competitive, and you can actually use them to run pure Knights lists, and this is really exciting because, Mr. Chaos Cultist, we have some Knights already painted up, and we don't have that many more that we need to get to actually have a full 2,000 point list. And I really want to run a pure Knights list. I've never done that before. I also want to have a full Knight list painted. I think that would be really cool. What do you think of this?
Oh, I think it's great. I'm hoping that we see a little bit more support for them. I don't know how... Knights are one of those weird things where it's like in competitive, I don't think they tend to ever work very well in solo, except when we had like heavy kill point weighted missions. So I'm like, I'm happy about it because it does, like you said, it means 2 Poxwalkers don't take an objective from a freaking Castellan.
I think the benefit for me and the reason I get so excited is everybody I know, even though they're not necessarily playing tournaments, plays matched rules. So these rule sets are going to be in our local game stores. We're going to be using them, which means that they're just going to be in our everyday gameplay. So I'm excited because it means that when we play Knights, we can actually do it for realsies and have them not have to sort of cheat the rules to make them be able to hold objectives so that it's a little bit more balanced.
I don't think we've ever cheated the rules to allow Knights to hold objectives. We've
never run a pure Knights list though. We've never run pure Knights, so that's why. It's because we never really want to I guess that's why. We've never done pure Knights.
Well, if we played a 1,000 point list, I'd have 3 models on the board and my turn would take 2 minutes.
That is true, which would be actually kind of funny. Oh my god, we should get some Chaos Knights and do that. We should have 2 1,000 points Knights list, Chaos and Imperium, and just use these rules, and it'd be freaking hilarious. I would love it.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a clickbait video. It's going to be, we have proven you can play Warhammer 40k in 15 minutes. And it's just gonna be 2 Castellans and 4 War Dogs.
Yes, it would be perfect.
And we're gonna get through each round's gonna take about 3 minutes. There's gonna be no stratagems, and at the end, it's gonna be a terrible battle report. We're scrapping this idea.
No, it's an April Fool's. It could be something for that. That would be amazing. All right, let's talk about the Necrons, your babies. They have been updated, And I think it's very, very good. How do you feel?
Oh, I feel like we're where we should have been when this frickin' edition began.
I don't disagree.
The biggest complaint every Necron player had when the first 2 codexes came out, like, the word core seems to appear a lot more in this Imperial Space Marine book. But yes, Canoptic Reanimator, making it still not very good, but got core, but more importantly, the Wraiths. The flayed ones, dear God. Oh. The low-curse destroyers, along with the heavy ones, and the Ophidian destroyers, Scorpec destroyers, and Triarch Praetorians never understood why the other, like, Royal Guard guys got it and they didn't. But
yeah,
now,
it was kind of weird.
Basically, the infantry of the Necrons has core. The main units that still do not are the Scarabs.
Which makes sense, I think.
They are one of the best units in the book already, and giving them core would have been obnoxious.
Oh, yes. I completely agree.
But and the other
Although
thing is,
kind of funny.
And Tomb Spiders didn't either. But I think lore-wise that makes sense. And I also think it's just I don't really know enough about Tomb Spider strategy.
Well, you've never really run them, right? You definitely have been more Wraith, Destroyer, then
I've been Canoptic,
either Immortals
Destroyer,
or
Plague.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited for this update for you. It actually means that, like, you can run things and they can do shit. Like,
the main thing I still wish they would have done is I wish they would have made the monolith a little more reasonable to run. Because it's a super heavy, it costs like 3 command points to field the darn thing. That
is true, but it is more useful now, though, because it can teleport core units, right? Which means that you can actually, like... Isn't that something that the monolith can do?
Yeah, so in particular what it is there is a stratagem, I forget the name off the top of my head, that allows you to bring in a unit that is put into reserves within 3 inches of the portal of the monolith.
Got it.
This allows you to actually bring units, within 9 inches of units, because it kind of works like a transport situation.
Got it.
And that's good, but the problem with it is you have to spend command points on the stratagem. You have to spend 3 command points on getting the monolith on the board.
Oh, okay.
Because once again, you have to pay command points to take the super heavy.
It's super heavy, right.
Yeah, and then you're potentially talking about additional command points to put units into reserves that don't have rules for it.
Okay, I see how that's still not super viable, I guess.
But the Royal Necron Croissant that has the portal, that is more interesting because once again, yes, we've been limited to only 2 flyers. Necron flyers are expensive. You're not going to run that many of them anyway.
I was going to say, I don't remember... I mean, I've seen Necron players like in our local community that have run the croissants, and they've never ran more than 2 because of how expensive they were.
But yeah, now you can put them out, and now you can teleport Wraiths out of them.
Oh God.
Flayed ones. Destroyers. Yeah.
Flayed ones also have gotten, like, hecka buffed from this, right?
Yeah,
from my understanding?
Because I'm not sure I really fully clarified. So all those units getting the keyword, the issue with the Necrons, like most 9th edition codexes, are that their characters and abilities tend to only affect core units. Right. Select a core unit to reroll hits. Select a core unit to get +1 strength, etc.
Exactly.
And Necron stratagems and their nobles have a lot of core rules. And that only affected warriors, immortals, and
2 other units. I don't remember what they are.
Like the Royal Guard guys.
Yes. And one other unit. Yes, and which I feel like Tomb Blades were the ones that no one ever used.
Not in 9th edition so much, because they're the jetpack guys.
Yes, that's what it was.
And unless you're running a Lord on a command barge, it's really hard to keep a character with them.
Right, and you have to have characters with Necrons, because that's kind of the way that they're...
A lot of our buffs require on it, yeah.
Exactly.
But overall, this suddenly means that a lot more units in the Codex are viable and actually intimidating.
Exactly. The thing that...
Because it also lets a lot of them resurrect more, because there's resurrection rules and stratagems that only affect core units as well.
Yeah, which makes your destroyers incredibly terrifying. Like, I am so...
survivability.
Like, I know that my Death Guard can definitely stand up to the Necrons, because I feel like they're a hard counter. They're a hard counter to them, because they were of the damage reduction and everything like that. And you have so many just flat 2 shotguns.
Well, our melee weapons tend to be 2 damage.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think, sorry, I said guns, but I meant the melee. And you run a lot of melee destroyers. But the thing that I like about this though, sorry, I lost my train of thought slightly of what I was talking about and what the point that I wanted to bring up.
All the cool models we'll get to use now instead of just a bunch of warriors and immortals.
I mean, yes, I think it was that, but there was something else, and now it's really clearly wasn't that important because I don't remember what. No, it's totally fine. But I really think this is incredibly cool because we're going to be using them when we play against each other, these match rules, so that your Necrons. Oh, I remember now. The Death Guard are a hard counter. How we run the Hobby Knights, they are not a hard counter, and I actually think Necrons against Space Marines is going to be really interesting now because I feel like they're better balanced, which is fantastic. So, and also, what I'm also incredibly eager to try out against your Necrons with these new core abilities are my Orcs. When they're done,
boy, yes.
I cannot wait to fight you with 1,000 points of them and actually see like how this all goes down because I feel like
fast. It'll be fast.
I also agree with that, but I want to see exactly how fast, and I want to see, like, can I get in and actually get into melee with you? Because if I can, I feel like I'll be alright, but if I can't and I get stuck in mid-range or something and you just take me out, it's going to be very interesting, and I'm very, very excited to try it out.
Yes, but yeah, so very excited for that for the Necrons. Tune in this Friday, folks, if you're interested in seeing a speed painting technique for the Necrons. Yeah. I believe you're demonstrating it on the Scorpec, or no, the Ophidian Destroyer. No, which ones?
I don't remember now. One of the destroyers. I haven't actually built them, so I'll be doing
the ones
soon.
That don't look like wraiths.
Correct. The ones that don't look like wraiths. So we're going to be painting one of those up. Probably with some other things as well.
The ones with the axes for arms.
Yes, it's going to be really cool. I'm going to use a lot of bright colors. If you've never seen our Necron color scheme, you're in for a treat.
You are. And so the thing to sort of end this review of the balanced data slate,
yes.
the topic to sort of cover is that Games Workshop is claiming they are now going to come out with these quarterly.
Which I think could be a good thing. I feel like it's going to help certainly balance the game. I just don't know if it's too much of them trying to balance when people still haven't really played that much, but I'm hoping that this is good. And that has been it for this week in hobby news. Let me know what you thought of the rules updates down below. And I want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up of what's coming for Friday's painting video. Because of the rules update, I want to revisit the Necrons, look at my paint scheme, and paint some destroyers. So be looking forward to that this Friday. Now before I go, I wanted to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting us and making it so content like this can continue to happen. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. I've been Angela, you've been watching Hobby Night, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!